So, one of the things that we keep hearing about is, like where are we getting Cold Fusion developers from? A lot of our customers today are hiring Cold Fusion developers who have zero experience in Cold Fusion. They have experience in programming. And most of the experience is coming from some of our competing platforms. But what is really interesting, and I think this is the key thing in Cold Fusion ecosystem, is that they universally tell us that it takes about 3 months to get people up and running, reasonably full-blown on Cold Fusion platform. Because A, it's really easy to use, and again, B, you really don't have to write too many lines of code, so that it's really simple to do it. So, I would now like to call on stage a very interesting company who's essentially focused in the area of customer retention. And we have on today Cheston Hecht, who's the CEO of the company, who will talk to us a little bit about an interesting application that Retensa has built using Cold Fusion. So please put our hands together and invite Cheston Hecht onto the stage.
I appreciate that, Tradib. You'll always be Freddie Mercury to us. Just to clarify, we are Retensa, by some accounts, the world's employee retention experts. Employee retention is the outcome, is the focus of what our technology does. When I was 7 years old, we were visiting some family friends in Long Island, New York, a place most known for the iced teas that many of you drank last night. And one of the other family's kids, Glenn, a few years older, showed me the first computer I ever saw that made me think. Many of you know it as a Commodore 64. And it was more than video games. If you remember, it was learning, it was music, and it was video games, all in one. And as I marveled at the 16 colors of the screen, it occurred to me that anything is possible with technology. The next year, my father bought me a Commodore 64. And the limitations of a 64 kilobyte world didn't matter. I believed technology could do whatever we wanted it to do, and it would take me 20 years to figure out what I wanted to do with it. Eventually, it would become Talent Pulse. Built on Cold Fusion, it is the pioneer in the next generation of real-time employee feedback platforms. Talent Pulse captures the employee experience, and it lets leaders know what's working and what's not in hiring, onboarding, and developing staff. If leadership knows what's broken, they're more likely to fix it. And Talent Pulse makes it easier than anything else. And because of that, we're now used in over 50 countries and 14 languages. And it's great software. We'll see more of it. But it's not about the software. Good software rarely is. I think that great software is about closing the gap in what's inherent in being human. And 20 years ago, I was working for a company, and it revealed to me what seemed to be a broken employee-employer relationship. Consider the magnitude of the problem that we were trying to solve. Retensa is trying to help companies be engaged and inspired. But that's not easy, because the reality is, in the last 10 years alone, American businesses lost over 300 million employees. And that costs a fortune to rehire and retrain and replace. That's time, that's money. We've gone from where there were few jobs with many applicants to this past summer, we hit for the first time in American history, there were more job openings than unemployed. People who graduated in 1990, I won't ask you to raise your hand, you know who you are, averaged 2.5 jobs in their next 10 years. If you graduated in 2005, you would average 4 jobs in just 10 years after school. Certainly there are economic cycles, but the fundamentals of the state of labor and the raw shortage of people to deliver the goods and services indicates a reality that it's never a good time to lose great people. In our line of work, while we look for the people who quit and leave, most importantly is the people who quit and stay. And you may be familiar with this. Raise your hand if you've ever worked next to somebody who shows up every day, but they quit a long time ago. Right? Are you sitting next to that person right now? Don't raise your hand. This is real. It's called presenteeism. And the amount of things done at work that are not work is frustrating for coworkers, and it's costly for companies. It is not getting any easier because the modern workforce is unrecognizable from just 10 years ago. Today we stream music, we stream video, we stream news, even if you don't want to. Right? We're connected to our cars, our refrigerators. Right? Some of us are texting someone right now. Not cool, Doug. And in 10 years, we saw that technology connecting our world was completely vacant at work. In lives, we're plugged in, turned in, tuned to instant access. We spend half of our waking lives, though, at work. But we don't even know what Doug does all day, besides text his girlfriend. It's unrecognizable, and it doesn't match. And we want to be connected to what's going on at work, because we need to know what our peers are doing, what our managers are up to, or else our intentions don't match the outcomes. This is widely studied, because just a fraction of issues are known by executives that are facing line staff. Sometimes because you're only meeting for 2 days in Las Vegas, once per year. And half of you right now are hungover. Okay, 3/4. But this isn't what anybody wants. This is the insanity. Just consider that up to 80% of staff are disengaged or disinterested in the work that they're doing. And over 60% of managers say they don't have the information to make good decisions. So just consider that it's not fun for anyone, but we keep doing it over and over. It's like the worst Groundhog Day ever. And it is worse than ever, because the velocity of business is going so fast that I can't apply something today if I learn it in 6 months. Right? I'm overloaded by data, but I have fewer ways to sort, sift, and interpret that data. And also because of the shifting attitude towards beards at work. When did that happen? I went to lunch, I came back, everyone is combing their face. The shifting attitude actually towards a job. In modern Western culture, identity is I am what I do. And we are fervently proud to be Cold Fusion developers. This is who I am, and it's what I do, but those lines have blurred. So I'm not going to be unhappy for very long in a job. This is the storm that is swirling around us in the workplace. And I said we can do something better, and we could get technology to do that. And so we created our software solution, and that is called Tequila Direct to the Desktop. You imagine that. We're taking funding now. No, it isn't. I think if we wanted to create an employee lifecycle mapping platform, we'd have to use less flammable liquids. We called it Talent Pulse. It is a business intelligence tool that helps managers, leaders, and organizations ask anyone, anything, at any time. And it routes the relevant insights to the people who can do something about it. That's it. And it's automated. That means that no one has to log in to send questions. to new hires or to Chicago. It means that reports about why engineers join the company get captured, rolled up, and at the end of the month, it goes to recruiting so that they can hire the next engineer. It's centralized to be a one-stop shop for employee feedback. So the loose conversations that happen in the water cooler and over all those emails and phone calls, they actually get consolidated in a place where I can mine the data for meaningful insights. And it's integrated to the employee experience, which means that when Kevin hits 30 days, we ask Kevin questions about, does he have everything he needs to succeed? Is it working? Consider that Retenza actually uses Cold Fusion software to develop our Cold Fusion software developers. What? Double rainbow. And then Kevin's manager at 30 days gets 8 questions about how Kevin's doing. Is he acclimating? Is he getting on board? Or is he a danger to himself and others? And maybe around 30 days, we need to step in and do something about that, or get him the tools, the technology, what he needs to succeed. It allows an individual in a company to calibrate their relationship to work best for everyone. I need more flexibility, I want less hours, I want more training. Great. So when you go to training, how is the training? And we get it to the director of L&D so that they can iterate and improve and develop. And when you quit, why did you leave? Maybe it goes straight to the top. Many of our client CEOs read every exit interview. That all would be much harder without using Cold Fusion's technology, the way we were able to iterate and add componentry and expand in a matter of weeks. There's an analogy to consider. Does anyone know what the original car was? Shout it out if you know. The original Model A, close. Model T, no. The original car was a horse. That was the original car. Not bad, but not exactly what we needed, right? So consider where survey software was 10 years ago. We took everything that was wrong with survey software, and there's so much wrong with the current generation of survey software. It's slow, it's unintuitive, it's totally manual, it's got bad reporting. And we put in what you actually need to take action and make a difference in a workplace. So the current state of feedback today is a really good horse. But no matter what you put in, the same thing comes out the other end. I'll give you a minute to get that. We're taking it further, okay? And I like driving, right? But you know what I would rather do besides drive? Just about anything. Okay? I don't actually want to drive as much as I enjoy cars. I want to get there. And companies don't want to do employee surveys. Given the option, no leader in your company would do that. It's hard. And when they do, the results get stuffed in a cabinet, or they're sent and sit in a folder, or all the results are turned into spreadsheets. These are people's lives. Can you imagine the answer is spreadsheets? Right? So leaders want to know, though, what employees like, what they value, what they want, what they don't, and how to make an impact. And the good companies want that too. And it's hard to get that from the old generation of survey software. The bad companies, well, they don't use Talent Pulse, so they'll be out of business anyway. And what it looks like, first of all, is sexy. Where's NASA? Let me tell you, this could be a waitress at the Hard Rock Casino. Right? We're using a JavaScript front end on Bootstrap, Cold Fusion 2016, SQL Server on the back end. It's all sitting on AWS and separate servers. We're agile. Thank you, Shandana, our technology manager, bringing us forward. Pivotal tracker for communications and team development. You can deploy pulses at predictable intervals. You can track what we call commitment indicators over time. That's trust. That's the state of appreciation and engagement from new hire to promotion to transfer to separation and how that changes. SAP called us the corporate Fitbit because we capture the pulse of the workplace. And how it's different between women and men. It always is. And how it's different between millennials and Gen X. And it always is. Town Pulse asks the right questions at the right time. It's totally dynamic. So if I leave a department or location, I'm answering questions about that department and that location, not the old one. And actual quotes from people who have seen the software and been using it, became our clients. They said, wow, we can do that. They said, cool. It's the first HR software ever described as cool. They said, we've never seen that before. And my personal favorite, this is like showing fire to a caveman. And it works as a competitive advantage for organizations because the company is listening. And at our clients, we've reduced turnover from 21 to 67%. We've accelerated hiring, got people in faster, 8, 15, 22 days. We cut bad investments. 14,000 was being wasted on pre-hire assessments that had no predictability towards tenure or performance. We helped the company save $220,000 on recruiting with headhunters, where every one of those people left after 6 months. We helped them find that. They fired those headhunters, consolidated, changed their effort. Overnight, they saved 220 grand every year. We've improved manager scores, 24% in providing valuable feedback, 58% in a reason to stay at this organization. By having the data, by just being armed, I can't unsee it, I can't unknow it. And we are able to predict high-risk departures. In the big game, it's the one with the best talent who wins. And we chose Cold Fusion when we started building this, which was now 12 years ago, right? As I started having conversations with organizations that were in the development world. And Ben said, this is the most interoperable platform this is. It works with everything. And Clark said, this is enterprise class architecture. If that's your client, if that's where you're going, that's what this is. And for me, I was impatient. So I love the thought to launch, which is unprecedented with anything besides Cold Fusion. And Alicia, I know I'm going over a minute. It's going to be worth it, I promise. Right? And I'm going to just tell you this quick experience about an email that I got. It was 7 a.m. in the morning from a client in Europe, a pharmaceutical firm. I saw the email. They had been using our platform. I called him by 8 a.m. He needed information for a meeting that was happening the next day. The information was something only our software could provide, but wasn't easily accessible at the time. In the format that we could give it to him, it would take him another 3 days to get it to leadership. Leadership needed it the next day. So he said wishfully, if I just had a button on this screen, that would export what I needed. Now, it was an innocent statement, but I took it as a dare. I also knew that if we got him that information, that leadership would get the reports and the data that would validate the platform, and it would reveal what we've unlocked that's hidden in the workforce. And so I said, look, I have to get to the airport in literally a few hours, but let me make a phone call. By 9 a.m., I'm on talking to my entire team. And at about 10 minutes into it, one of our developers said, well, we could just add the button. And I said, well, we could add the button, but could we code the button and test it too? Right? So they go back and forth. You could kind of hear them scribbling on envelopes. And they said, yeah, we could do it. So I said, go for it. I handed it over to them to update the client, and I packed and prepared. A few hours later, I am in the jetway at the airport, getting on the plane, and I get a phone call. And my lead says, we're done. Can we go live? And I said, should we go live? She said, yeah, it's tested. It works. So we pushed the code. In the time it took to pack, go to the airport, check in, and get on the plane, a new feature was live on our platform. Try that with .NET. I sent him an email. Take a look at your brand new button. He was astonished. I was astonished. Since then, more than one person has asked, why do you use Cold Fusion? And I say, Cold Fusion has done more on the way to the airport than it could do for you, your software could do all month. We continue to have stories like that, and we continue to use the platform because Adobe is bringing us forward. And if you're listening, Adobe, if you're out there, and I think you are, and you can make wishes come true, if you really want to unleash the power and the potential of Confusion, let's get it on the Commodore 64. Thank you. Have a good night.